Welcome back to Visionary Sanctum. Today is our first ever video episode. Now, obviously, we still have the audio going. If you're listening to this, you can check this out on YouTube. I am very excited to get into the video side of things. Audio and video production has been something that I've had a very strong interest in for a while. So the fact that I'm really doing it is a big deal. The other thing that is a big deal, I would say, is we made it to episode 5. Why is that so monumental? Well, last time we discussed on episode 4, the audio version. So if you haven't seen that, you can check it out here on YouTube, or you can also go back and listen on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. On that episode at the beginning, I said that the average podcast only has 4 episodes. And so it was a big deal that I made it to 4. I hit average, I was consistent, at least up to average. But now we're on episode 5. We have officially exceeded that. This is a big deal. This is very serious. I am committed. And episode 5 is also big to me because I've been able to prove to myself that I can set out to create something and do it. So here we are doing it. Going into the past, earlier this year, I tried to start. I have the tools. I got the camera, I got the microphone, whatever. I'm like, let me go ahead and make this podcast. It was under a different name. It didn't work. The audio wasn't lining up. I tried again to do it with the audio lined up. And then something happened with my computer. It was encrypted or something like that. And I had to get the computer wiped in order to get access to it. That was kind of my only option. So that footage is gone. Now we have a name that I'm a lot more in alignment with, and it's beautiful that we got this far. And even as I was preparing to make this episode, a lot more ideas have flown in as to what I want to do on the visual side of things on YouTube, whether I want it to be attached to this podcast or just some other fun visual storytelling things that I can do in general. So all of that will be coming up. So stay tuned. Make sure you follow me on everything, whether you're listening on the Spotify, the Apple Podcast, follow me on Instagram at Visionary Sanctum. YouTube is Visionary Sanctum 9, or you can just look up the title of the episode. It should come up. Another piece about this episode is it will be the first one I'm actually promoting. So y'all know how for larger podcasts, you'll see people promote the clips and people will just be fed off the clips alone. They don't necessarily watch the whole episode. So I'm going to take the time in between to cut this bad boy up into some clips I think will hit, and put those on the Instagram as well. So make sure you check out their Instagram and share with your friends. Repost those clips as well if you're feeling those pieces as well. And it's kind of like, I don't want to say necessarily uncomfortable, but it is an experience to go from, oh yeah, by the way, I have this podcast, as far as how I'm telling people about it in real life. I have this podcast, and then I'll occasionally start posting it on my story, but setting it up where I'm breaking down the clips of me on here, really yapping, is a public claim. This is what I do. I engage in audio and video production. I yap, I have opinions, and this is a real thing. And I'm very proud of myself to have gotten this far. As we get into it, I'm still not all the way there, but I'm going to be working on a schedule. So the goal is to eventually get bi-weekly. Right now it's giving bi-monthly, but we're going to try for bi-weekly eventually here. Stick with bi-weekly-ish. That's okay. And then other piece of our little check-in here, I am hosting my very first event. Again, if you are in the Chicago area and you want to know about the events, you need to be following me on Instagram at Visionary Sanctum. All right. Now we got some housekeeping things out of the way. Let's hop into our check-in. So for the check-in today, it's a little bit more themed. And the theme today for this check-in is gratitude. I am in the position that I prayed for a few years ago, which I think I've touched on that before, but let's go a little bit deeper. I went from starting off this year in March, at the end of March, by putting myself in creative spaces saying, hey, I'm a creative, I'm claiming it. I need to go ahead and put myself in those spaces and stop procrastinating, stop feeling like I don't have any work to show for it, so I cannot make that claim. Then I went from being in those spaces to putting work together, but not necessarily having an established identity. But it was such a big deal to go from nothing and worried about perfectionism to actually having something to show for it. And I am incredibly grateful to myself, because at one point I fully lacked the discipline to be able to carry out any of it. It didn't matter how bad I wanted it. I failed time and time again to show up for myself. And I am glad to have evolved from that. And I'm also grateful for the diligence and the dedication for the past version of myself that continued to try and push through those uncomfortable moments of stillness at the time. Now we have a bit more of an established presence. We got our podcast here. I'm actually working on my little portfolio website, not necessarily for the public, but so I can actually apply for jobs that have to do with creative career. Like I got a little something, look at it, little podcasts, whatever. We got some events. She curates, she does things in real life. Like, it's not in theory of what's coming up or what I'm going to do. I'm doing it right now. I don't really get too spiritual on here, but I would like to start. And a big point of my gratitude is that I would like to thank God for the vision, the clarity that I now have of this vision of what I'm going to do and what I plan to carry out, and the tools to do so. This microphone I'm talking to you on, I bought it a couple years ago, back when I was not carrying out everything that I wanted to do. But I'm grateful that I bought it back then, because this shit was not cheap. And this camera was gifted to me a couple of years ago. Didn't use it then, but still an incredible camera now. And I'm glad that when I was ready, and the laptop, and I got my iPad for the show notes, like the tools, girl, all the tools, that I was ready to go and ready to do it. I just had everything gathered for whenever it was time. And now is the time. And I am grateful for my family for providing me with the resources to even be able to have the tools and provide me with the resources and life to be able to even dream in the capacity that I have been able to dream. I've always been a dreamer, and I do know part of that is being able to experience the privilege of comfort and stability growing up. And that would not have been possible without my parents. And it would not have been possible without the sacrifices made by their parents before them. We know how it goes in the Black community. And I'm very grateful for everything everybody has done. So that's my piece of gratitude. Ooh, and I felt a little bit of a word. So I'll tell y'all what I wrote. I wrote, gratitude is more than acknowledgement, which is what we just did, acknowledge. It's about how we engage with what we've been given. I'm making an effort to show my gratitude by actively using the time and resources that I've prayed for. And it's one thing to say, oh, I have this, that, and the third, and I'm so grateful. But if you're not taking action with what you have, it's kind of just words. Fully engage with all of what it is and everything that you want to do and be. And that's what we're acting out right now. Yay. Speaking of resources, one resource I have right now is time. And I would like to reduce my recreational screen time by 2 more hours this week. I reduced it by 2 hours last week. I want to do 2 more. I'm getting really close. I think overall, I would like my screen time period to be 4 hours. And please keep in mind that I need my phone for work. Like, I'm a realtor. I do this. I have to pay attention when it comes to networking events, things like that. Like, I get all the information from Instagram, and I'm building an online community, so I need to be interactive. It is part of the thing. But I think 4 solid hours is good, and I'm getting pretty close. And I want to be more intentional about what I consume. So part of the reason I deleted TikTok is because it was just a lot of mess, like a lot of messy bullshit. And the Love Island stuff, it was fun to watch while the show was running. But now it's like, this is getting kind of exhausting. And I'm not really that level of invested. Like, I think the whole Nicolandria thing is like a sweet love story, blah, blah, blah. But I'm kind of over, like, I'm not that invested. Do we really need to take pictures and screenshots of every single thing that they're doing? I understand, like, there's a fandom kind of thing, but I'm just kind of, I'm like off that. You know, it was fun while it lasted, guys. Like, I'm personally ready to move on, even if others aren't. So I will quietly move on. And then, like, you know, just drama and then there's like the little funny stuff in between. I do enjoy comical things for sure. But I would like to consume more art. And something that inspired me recently looking on Instagram is Solange. Solange, this woman eats, sleeps, breathes art. And I love that she's multi-hyphenate. Like, she really just does whatever she wants to do. Y'all know about the glassware. She recently did like a short film about the connection between Black people, spirituality, and domesticity, like the connection between domestic items and spirituality, like how these things are expressed. Who comes up with that? Somebody who has a great artistic mind. And I'm like, oh, I need to stop being so idle on bullshit and like really, really, really dive into it. I do think as I dive into like really, really, truly being focused and elevating myself to the next level as to how I use my time as a creative, I think it's going to alter my relationship with rest. Like, part of my idea of rest and chilling was the doom scrolling. And now I'm going to spend my time scrolling and like paying attention to art, inspiration, and really, really engaging in community, especially as a curator, learning people's art, building relationships with them. How I interact with social media, is it always going to be a point of leisure? I don't know. I'm consuming a bit more YouTube, more film, more stuff like that. While I've enjoyed TikTok, it is highly addictive. I want my attention span back. Is that crazy that I want my attention span back? I don't know. But we'll leave the check-in alone. We'll close that out. So I'm going to give y'all a little bit of a debrief of some of the topics that we'll hop in today, and we will hop into them. First one is going to be about releasing the fear of being seen, expanding boundaries in relationships, being in alignment. And I'm going to tell y'all about my first event. So usually I put that under like the entrepreneurship bubble, but yeah, my first event, like, my experience with it. I haven't done it yet, but just the process of preparing for it and like actually making it happen. And then I will close out with the word, and the word is execution. All right, let's start with releasing the fear of being seen. At one point in time, I just felt by default that I was invisible. And in a sense, and I was gonna say really wasn't. It was a very uncomfortable experience because no matter how much I try to like make myself small, little, petite, and invisible, a bitch stuck out like a sore fucking thumb, like real store, real thumb, like, okay. And I think in a sense, I still wasn't being seen because I wasn't taking the time to see myself, even if other people were seeing me visibly. Other people were visibly seeing me in a way that was extremely uncomfortable with myself. And that's just not something that I wanted to face, whether I liked it or not. And so as time has passed, we faced it. Okay. And I'm significantly more comfortable. And with that comfort, I'm looking at me, I'm facing me inside, out mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and I'm loving what I see. And I'm not afraid of flaws or fear or anxiety or any of those things. I allow myself to feel and experience those things and allow for those feelings to pass through rather than holding on to them like a container and turning into, I don't know, like a pressure cooker, like a spontaneous combustion situation. And so allowing myself to be myself, open and vulnerable, allowing these feelings to just ooze and experience and be free, and really being in that point of feminine energy, if you want to call it that, has increased my desire to be seen. Now that I love what I see in the mirror, I accept all of what I see in the mirror. I want other people to see it too. It's like, oh my God, I'm so cute. And, you know, as this feeling has occurred, I'm like, well, people are already looking at me anyway. So it went from, I don't mind being seen as the internal feeling to externally, it's like I've turned into a light. I've turned into something that people are already kind of drawn to, but are now really, really, really drawn into and intrigued. And the goal is not to appease and be approachable for everyone. The goal is to be here for me, you know, but it is really cool to see how that reflects, the inside reflects out, and how just a shift in your energy can change in the way that others are interacting with you. Not just the way that people are interacting, but the way that you perceive said interactions as well, because I've had some issues with perception before. We're not going to get into that today. With this now desire of being seen, I'm a lot more comfortable in front of the camera, obviously, because we are recording. And I feel like I look cute in the sunlight. I like this little piece of color, you know, this little outfit's very, very smooth, very laid back, and I like it, you know. And I find that when I'm out now, I also want pictures. Like, there's a gap, especially like, you know, with me moving within early adulthood, a massive gap of like no pictures. I know sometimes y'all see like online those fun trends of, oh, when I become this age, I'm showing my baby this, I'm showing my baby that. Like, my mom was hot, like my mom was this, that, and the third. I don't have nothing to show my kids, nothing like full body, nothing cute, because I was spending time avoiding the camera, or like when I would be in pictures, like off guards, I looked fucking crazy. Now, because I'm in these spaces where there's photographers, if I see myself in the background, I'm like, damn, I'm like, I need to be in the foreground. Fuck the foreground. Fuck the background. Okay, fuck that. I want to be seen like I look good. And maybe it's something I should be vocal about within the community that I'm in, or like around my friends, because when I'm around them, just the type of creative that I am, the type of person I am, my immediate thought is to record and capture the moment. I'm not just talking about cute Instagram pictures. I'm catching fun little off-guard moments, cute moments between people, because this is something that I have an eye for. Other people don't necessarily have an eye for that. But like, maybe I should announce that I would like to be captured in that way. Or if I see an opportunity, let people know, hey, like, can you record this? Or giving them my phone, and just doing it so I have memories of me in the situation, rather than me posting videos and stuff from my perspective. So it's something I'm going to push myself to do. Then we have the aspect of something I've done to change over time, which is my overall look. So I'm looking at myself in these pictures in the background, these little shots, whatever, feeling good, looking good, all those things. And part of that aspect, which I missed earlier, was the effort in my attire. Oh, I should start off with that. But the effort in my clothes has changed. I would leave the house any old fucking way, because in Minnesota, no tea, no shade, that's how people do. Like, they just leave and whatever. If they're not going out, it's just... And if they are going out, it's black t-shirt, black crop top, jeans, and some beat up Air Forces. Like, it never gave really go out. The girls in Chicago, they look good. And even the leisure wear, like, I'm going to run to the store, I'm going to go get some coffee in this. It's cute. Like, the girls put that shit on. And now I'm one of the girls that be putting that shit on now. My claim to fame is not to be like a fashion enthusiast or influencer, but I do dress in a way that is expressive of me, and it's cute, and I'm still comfortable. I originally thought I had to be uncomfortable in order to achieve that, but I like being myself. I like being original and not necessarily following trends. And I think that's also what has contributed to this light that I am emitting, if you will. Now we can get back to like what I wanted, the point I was trying to transition in, which is creating events in real life and becoming a brand where I am the face. So I'm having an event on the beach on Friday, and which might come out the day that this is posted. That might be the day of the event. And I'm like, okay, this is Visionary Sanctum. I put Visionary Sanctum Presents. And like, when they get there, they're going to see me. Like, I have created this thing, this entity, and you're looking at me like, this is me. I thought, oh, maybe I wanted the page to look more like an org where there's not really this face, but I'm acting out these ideals that I put in this mission statement. Maybe that's what it should do. But no, like, this is me. This is mine. Hello, I'm Angelica. I'm a producer. I'm a curator. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm creative. I do a lot of stuff. And welcome to my space, the Sanctum, if you will. And I was originally like, this is very audacious, but I think being an artist is the point. That's the point, is to be audacious. So I'm stepping into that. And then the events, like just in general, slapping it on there. Whew. Okay. Let's get into expanding boundaries in relationships. I'm always thinking about this topic now that I have been releasing this fear of being seen. A lot of what we talked about is the external version of being seen, but also the intimacy of being seen within a relationship is another beast in itself. And with a lot of people, as I've explained before, being new in my life, like I don't really have like close childhood friends or anything like that anymore. COVID and going to school really far away kind of severed that over time. And then moving to another city. So it's like the third city I've lived in on top of that. It's just created distance from the past, which I'm okay with. But now I have lost that the intimacy of being close and being friends with someone who has seen me over multiple seasons of my life. There's just something about time that hits a little bit different than just chemistry alone. Being able to see people's commitment to you over time and their seasons in their life. It makes a difference. And then I'm meeting all these people. So, and I've decided to throw myself in the business of relationships, networking, curation now. It's all about relationships. And I think of the dynamics that I'm creating as rings. I'm in the center, and then I have different layers. The first ring being like lovers, confidants, things like that. And then like people like friends, like people I really fuck with, but like maybe we don't talk as often. And I'm always the person who is talking often and often connecting. But when I have that many connections, it's just not possible to connect so frequently with everyone. But I can still be, regular. What regular is now altered. Now that I'm not just, these are my friends, these are my coworkers. Things have expanded. And I'm navigating, like, how do I show up for folks? Like, who's having an event? Let me go show up to that. Let me go show up here. This person's got a show. Like, how can I contribute this day? Where this and the third? Like, let me do like a repost if I can't show up or something like that. Let me hit them up and see if they need anything. Things like that in between, so I can still be a contributing member of community, even if I'm not like pouring out all my personal business to them, and just learning to navigate that gray space. Within this time of these types of relationships, what it made me realize is my deep desire to love freely. It's like, okay, I'm meeting people and I'm adding them to the gray space, Maybe they've made just like a friend ring. Okay, cool. But not necessarily within that confidant ring, which is like what I'm trying to add to. And I love that, the closeness. I love consistent conversation. I love being able to just show up and be like, I fucking love you to death. Like, you're my dog. Like, you're chilling at my house, I'm chilling at your house. Like, let's make dinner. Let's really get close. Let me spend time with your family. Like, I am that kind of person. And I don't know who has, but reading the book All About Love by Bell Hooks, I'm sure many of y'all have read that, has expanded my ideas of love and all the different types of love. And I think a lot of people have like this very limited idea of what love is. And so that has added a lot of boundaries and restrictions. And I'm hoping to build community with people who don't have those restrictions. I just need a few, like a handful, that are really riders and want to be riders for life. Like, now that my ideas of relationships and what they can be have expanded, I think I'm really wanting a platonic life partner in addition to a romantic life partner. I think that's really important. People don't realize relationships are a commitment, or like chemistry can come and go. It ebbs and flows, but like relationships, partnerships, we are in it and we're committed to being in it. And I'm always committed to loving and showing up and giving grace. Like, I'm here. So now that I have like a bit more clarity of what I want, I'm hoping to get into that next, so I can just love liberally and love liberally. And I'm also interested. I can't believe I'm saying this shit. I'm also interested in like relationships or connections that explore that gray space between romantic and platonic, like queer platonic relationships, stuff like that. Because like I said, stuff is so restricted. Like you can cuddle with your friends, can't you? Now, I'm not a super touchy-feely person in general, but if I was close enough, I don't mind that level of closeness without it being weird or needing like this stuff to be on such a strict line, you know? All of that is just food for thought. But we can get into our heavier topic today, which is being in alignment. So I've had some shifts lately, and I ended up changing the mission statement for Visionary Sanctum. So if you want to go check that out or know exactly what it says, head over to my Instagram at Visionary Sanctum. You should be follow the movement everywhere. Okay. And it went from me somehow trying to figure out how I could still be in alignment with real estate and art. And so I felt like the mission statement that I did come up with was a little unclear. What I have now is a lot more clear, and I'm feeling it. So instead of it being based around space, how can I help you find your space, your creative space, blah, 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 blah. It's more tied to what I really want to do, which is art, which is activism within the art space, making sure that we are amplifying the voices of artists that are going unheard for the community, for our BIPOC community, especially the Black community. Okay, that's what the platform is for, curatorial justice. And that's what I made it based around. So now if someone is interested in space or anything like that, I am a realtor. It is in my bio. I am licensed. I'm not getting rid of the license. I paid $1 bajillion for this shit. And I don't mind doing real estate. I don't. But I know art is more within the passion. What I would love to do is to meet folks and let them know what I do creatively. And if I find out that they are in need of a studio or a creative space, I can help them get that because I'm a realtor. It won't be something that I'm leading with, but definitely something I would love to build up like a history of, a portfolio of, helping people find their creative spaces, event spaces, studios, restaurants, prep kitchens, all whatever people can think of. I would love to do that, but that won't be the leading point of what Visionary Sanctum is exactly. And after making that change and really going for it, it made me reflect on some of my previous work experience. I overspent a lot of my money on food and a lot of my money on art supplies. Like right next to me is this massive creative closet. We won't be showing that, but it's big. It's full of stuff. And I spent hundreds and hundreds of dollars on art supplies thinking I was going to become some masterful painter. I mean, I still could, but now I have a much more reasonable idea of time frame and how long something like that would take for me to do it, and that it wasn't necessary to buy all this stuff all at once, and I wasn't gonna learn how to paint overnight and sell these things. Like I knew I felt tied to art, but I wasn't sure in what way. And I knew that art was fulfilling, but I couldn't quite figure out my lane of art that was fulfilling exactly. And I hated the job I was in. Oh my gosh. And I think it was killing my spirit, and it was messing with the clarity that I had as it pertained to really diving into all of what I wanted to do. And so while I was in this point of exploration and also in this point of depression, I found myself trying to find ways to fill this void. And the void was through consumption of food, consumption of items, like whatever I wanted, I impulsively bought it, and I spent a ridiculous amount of money. It didn't have much to show for it. Like I was making good money, but it was just whatever money I could blow, I did just that. And finding an excuse and saying it was okay to spend that type of money on art tried to make me feel a little bit better. So it's nice that a few years later that I'm to the point where I'm like, yes, art. Yes, I can do art and business because I've always had a drawn to business. And yes, I can engage in activism. Like I can make a difference in the world through art and through the business that I create. And so now we have something that is going to be all encompassing of it. And we have a special term for it, which is not just entrepreneurship, but curatorial justice. While it was unhealthy for me to try to fill a void in that way, I'm glad I went through that experience, because if I didn't go through the experience, I would not have gotten to this point today. I don't think that was something that I could have avoided. I needed to experience the extreme of one end to the other in order for me to engage exactly what I want to do, in order for me to feel an alignment with. And in the moment when I realized the focus should be curatorial justice, it just felt like the stars aligned. Like I'm like, okay, activism. How do I engage in activism? And then life was hitting me like bills are real. Like bills so big I'll call him William, for real. Like that's a thing. And capitalism will destroy your dream. Like whatever dream you had, you're like, it turns into, how do I get this money? I need this money by tomorrow. The rent is due today. Shit, the rent is actually coming up, and we won't get to that. But yeah, rent is due every single month, and the rent is high. It's high. And then you have life bills, and then there's medical care, and shit happens. And then, I don't, but some people got kids, and unpredictable things happen with children and stuff all of the time. And you start worrying about a survival, like what am I going to do, rather than an alignment in terms of art and the people. And I didn't know how can I survive by leaning into activism? How can I survive in leaning into art? How can you survive trying to get into entrepreneurship as a newbie and wait it out and go through those ebbs and flows in the beginning before you find something or a way or a system of becoming financially stable in this brand new entity, this baby that you built? And it has been an uncomfortable experience, but now all those questions that I have has been answered. And sometimes things in life I find just aren't very direct. If I have a purpose that I'm sent here to do, my main and top priority and concern is to carry out this mission that I have been sent here to do, and to do the very uncomfortable thing sometimes, which is to just close my eyes, have faith, and put in the work and trust that what's meant to be will come out on the other end. That on the other end of what is in alignment with me is abundance, rather than trying to figure out how do I tap into this money, and then go think about it later. Maybe the abundance on all fronts, not just financial, in every aspect of life, is through this thing and this entity that I have built. It's through the journey, and also coming to terms with the fact that journeys are uncomfortable. I think sometimes I'm always bracing myself to be like, I guess something gonna hit me this time, is something not gonna hit me this time, rather than just going with the flow and accepting things for what they are, which can be difficult. I'm fully accepting of this journey and wherever it may take me. And I'm also accepting of the fact that whatever I think I'm going to do, however I think I'm going to approach this thing, may evolve as I evolve, and that is okay, as long as I'm diligent and invested. I didn't mean to stray too far away from the business experience, but I kind of did. But going back into the previous work experience aspect, about the money I was making and the money I was spending, now that I feel fulfilled, that I have a purpose, that I have a goal, and I talked about clarity earlier. I have a clear line of sight as to what I'm going to do, next steps, how I'm going to go about this. I can go back to doing the same thing I was doing before, like that type of job, that type of 9-to-5, easily with that kind of money, and move the money in intention, in a way that's with intention. Okay, I have this debt I'm trying to kill the debt. Live below the means. I don't need to spend every single dollar. Get this, medical stuff handled, and make sure that I'm setting like a seed for myself, whether it be savings, 401ks, Roth IRAs, all of those things, and also being intentional about the money that I'm setting aside for my business. Like if I want to do an event, if I'm ready to do an event in a larger space that will require money up front, I'll have the funds to invest in said event space, things like that. Like I'm really ready to be intentional about that. If I need another lens, I mean, this lens is getting the job done. But another microphone, a second one for interviewing other people. I'm ready to make the most of my resources with intention and having a place rather than washing them away to fill a void. And I'm very grateful that the void is now filled. And within this time, I'm feeling very, very peaceful for a long time. Even as a kid, is always this feeling of being on edge, like just eyes wide open, looking in the future, just because I was so unsatisfied with the present. And now being a lot more satisfied, it's like, but if satisfaction isn't the norm, sometimes I can be a little uncomfy, but I'm feeling very, very comfortable. And I'm realizing it's showing a difference, not just mentally, emotionally, spiritually, but physically. Like my body's actually changed a lot over the past 4 years, like, you know, in terms of psoriasis, like autoimmune disorders, things like that. Like even like menstrual cycle has also altered a lot in a positive way. My skin is starting to clear up a bit, and then like my digestion is completely different. I stopped keeping track of weight, but like lost several inches off of my back. I am changing as the emotional, mental, and spiritual changes as well. And I think that also goes into being alignment, just in general, outside of work. I know I started off talking about alignment in terms of productivity, but just being in alignment with who I am and how I choose to show up and express myself has resulted in some very beautiful things. A word that I actually wrote down that I added to my show notes. I put the shift from longing for what you want and arriving is uncomfortable, especially when your previous identity was based around becoming rather than being. Did you hear that? When your identity was based in becoming rather than being. Sometimes the grind to get somewhere, even if you don't know where somewhere is, you're trying to look for it, is what we identify with, the grind. And when you get there, it's like, damn, I actually made it. I wasn't expecting to get this far. And it can be a little uncomfy. Like, okay, I'm here. Like, what do I do? And I know I said I want to call myself an artist, but like, damn, like, no, I actually create art. Like, I really do this. Like, well, what's next? What other projects? Like, I'm here. I'm in it. I am living and breathing and being what I set out to do. This is I'm incredible. But now there's the pressure of, what does it mean to be incredible? Is an incredible person a doer? Do they carry a lot of weight? Do they simply, effortlessly just do? Like, what does it mean now to be? And that's the next step. And just being out loud and in public is a very powerful claim to make with yourself and in the universe, now that we are being. I find that people who are in this stage and proudly in it, have been within this state for a while, are the people that shine the brightest. Sometimes folks that have the energy and you're just drawn to them, you don't know why. Like, those are the people. Sometimes those people are also healers as well, but very powerful claim to say, I'm here to do what I set out to do, and I'm doing it, and it goes well, and I'm living abundantly off of it. This is my life, and I'm making that claim. Powerful. I said that was going to be a bulkier piece of the pod, and I'm glad we got to get into that. Now we'll get into some entrepreneurial things. My first event, it was even crazy for me to say, fuck it, I'm going to do it. I kind of realized when people kept asking me, when are you going to do it? When are you going to do it? When are you going to do it? And I'm like, okay, I'm going to wait till the fall. That's when I'm going to do it. That's the best time. And I'm going to do this thing. And I realized my first event was going to be pretty elaborate, and that's not a way to start. So I like, let me start off with meetups. I'm overthinking a dang meetup. And I'm like, well, it can't just be a meetup. It's got to be a workshop. Like, I got an agenda. I'm for the people. I got to push the people, push the agenda. Like, I'm here for that. Let's talk about it and build community around a common thought, a common belief of advocacy surrounding art and the BIPOC community as well. That at least let me go like, okay, let's do a simple concept, a message that I can push in a simple way and see how it goes from there. I settled on a venue. I looked at a couple of places. I knew I needed a place that was free. First place, hated it. It was in a basement, and I said, ooh. And it gives basement, and I hate basements. I hate basements and questionable bathrooms. And I found a spot, super nice, free, not questionable bathroom. It was on the upper level, great lighting. Then next came the flyer. I was like, okay, well, I need some way to promote this. I can't just say, hey, I got a spot. Made the flyer by myself. I'm no graphic designer. It's all right. But I actually saw it in a dream how I wanted to do it. And it was related to water, kind of like the top of water when there's like waves in it, but the sun is really bright and passing through it, that pattern that it creates. That's what I saw in a vision. And so it was amazing to be able to create that little simple textural aspect of the flyer. And then I needed to come up with a more solid workshop outline. I don't know anything about making workshops, so that was also a new experience. And like I said, I just wanted to make it simple, something that people could remember, engage in with their friends, and would tell other people about. I wanted it to be intentional, but still lighthearted, It's not like a workshop people paid $100 to get into with all this heavy labor. It's just some fun, actionable steps about community building within the creative, diverse community that we are a part of. And I was able to wrap that up. But something just kept telling me something was going to come up, which is how business works, how events work. Sometimes shit happens. Something was going to happen. Something was going to intercept it. Turns out the day that I chose was Lollapalooza, the first day of Lollapalooza, which means there's going to be traffic and road closures on my way there, which means there's going to be traffic and road closures for other people as well. And on top of that, the area that I chose was going to have a bunch of Lolla after parties or just Lolla related parties in general with guest DJs for folks who want to experience the crowd but didn't necessarily pay for the tickets, which is something a lot of locals do. They just go to the local parties if they weren't trying to actually go to the festival type shit. So I was going to be in the middle of all that. Terrible timing. Wasn't going to do it. It's been raining a lot here, like giving very much monsoon, very much like flash flood every single time. And I just wasn't trying to get caught in tourist and in knee-deep water. So I had to move it. And I moved the venue to the beach. We're going to be on the beach during sunset and it's going to be beautiful. And I was like, wow, this aligns with the vision that I had with the flyer. The flyer was water related, even though I wasn't going to do it anywhere near the water. I'm doing it at the water. And I am hoping for a nice small group. But like a robust group. I want intimacy within every aspect of life. I talk about intimacy a lot. I'm just that kind of girl. I want my events to be intimate as well. Like I want it to be close. I want everybody to feel comfortable to really work the room. And I know a lot of times like we enter spaces and we're not necessarily comfortable working the entire room. Maybe there's some people that we vibe with, but I want everybody to just feel like there's some level of connection. And even if they weren't going to initiate it on their own, I will be the initiator. Let's make this happen. Let's make use of this time. You came here for a reason and I want you to leave with something. So my first event will embody all those things. And I'm glad it was a nice, cute little journey to go on. So we will close out with the word, and the word was execution. And this is the message I actually wrote. Execution is better than perfection, even if the execution is delayed. Execution is an important skill. Don't sit around upset because the person who has less skill than you has the most visibility. The difference between you and them is execution. It is our divine responsibility as creatives to carry out what God sent us here to do. That is a path to abundance. Whatever you're sitting on, put it out. Put it out. Execution is such a big deal being a doer is such a big deal. And it took me so long to become a doer. And that it makes me put a lot more respect on myself as someone who is in the beginnings of their works, and a lot more respect with other people who are also in the early beginnings of their works, because there's a lot of people holding on to ideas and creative talents, and they never, ever, ever, ever actually execute their idea ever. And that is huge. It doesn't matter if it's the most perfect body of work, but the fact that you got it to get to the point where you're okay being visible and actually carrying those things out is incredible. And it's nothing anyone should ever make light of. All right, let's close for real. Visionary Sanctum is a movement, and thank you for all of you who have joined so far. Like, we are over our first 100 downloads, which is big for someone who has had little to no promo. I don't know who y'all are, but hey, what's up? Follow me on Instagram at Visionary Sanctum. And if you ever want to interact with the pod and you're listening on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, you have to follow me on Substack at Visionary Sanctum to comment, or you can come on over to YouTube at Visionary Sanctum 9. But there's so much more to come outside of just the pod. I'm going to start doing things to introduce you to different folks within the community that we are building, these beautiful, amazing, and creative artists. And maybe some of you who are viewers that I haven't met at all as well will also be featured. So I'm super excited for all that to come up. But that is the end of our first video episode. And until next time.